just want to sort of touch on sort of your history of injuries. You've had like the sort of the neck issues lately. If you can sort of go into that, and what if there's anything that you any operations or any procedures you did that you would sort of regret or would change now, given the new modalities that are out there and stuff?
Yeah, I've had no surgeries. Thankfully, I've been very close. I need them, but I'm stretching out as long as I can not to have them, because I don't really want to have surgeries. You know, I've broken a lot of stuff. I've lost count, to be honest, man. My body's pretty battered. You know, especially more from Jiu-Jitsu. But reason being is when I first started, I was on the training mats that we had. That was my main injuries. Okay. Because we trained, I think they were Taekwondo mats, which were, 15 or 20 mil, just directly on concrete. So that's all I knew. That was the only thing. I didn't know anything else then, because that's what I started on. And we would wrestle on it, you know, no knee pads. It was like concrete. Now I cringe. There's no way I could do it. There's no way. But all my injuries over the years and just that aggression is very different to now. The way I teach in my school, like rarely people get injured because of the methods, you know, how it's structured. And I'm really cautious with people just going crazy. I'll pull it up straight away. When I started, I was like, go hard or go home. That was it. You know?
Basically.
So, but my biggest injury, I would say, would be my neck. But I first injured it, what are we now, 2000? A good 8 years ago. 8 years ago, maybe. I think it was at least 8 years, maybe 10 years. 10 years ago. So I was sort of grappling with my coach, Harkin, at the time. And he was on mount. And at that time, we got taught to bridge on our heads. So that's, it was a wrestling
the
bridge,
wrestler's bridge
over our head. So that's how I used to bridge. It was really explosive. And as I tried to bridge, I bridged off onto my head. And he was attached to me on my chest, but he dismounted with the rest of his body. So as he was attached to my upper body, while I was bridged, I crushed, my neck got caught in the mat and his weight, and it crushed my neck. So, and I crushed 3 nerves in my neck, and instantly my left side just sort of dropped like I had a stroke. You know, it just drooped. And he goes, "What's wrong with your face?" And I go, "I don't know." So when I had a look in the mirror, and that's when I said, "It's all just dropped." So I just iced it and let it cool down for about an hour. And, you know, my face come back. But being then, I was a little bit more egotistic then. I just thought, nothing, it's all right. It's gone away. I just kept training, never got treatment. That's my regret. My regrets are not treating my injuries and just keep training through them like nothing's happened. So that was a bit stupid. You can still train through injuries. I still train through injuries now, but I can go around them. You know, instead of training and still impacting the injury, which is that's what I did. So and then obviously through the 10 years, wasn't as bad up until this year at the start of the year when I went to Thailand. And I was doing a bit of Muay Thai. And after a session of clinching, he was a tall experience, one of their fighters, tall guy. A solid half an hour of clinching on my neck. I didn't feel it then. It was after the class. And I couldn't keep my head up. I just kept falling. So I was that fatigued in my neck, and it was a little bit of pain. And then the next day I was just sore, and I started shooting down my back, which that's where I had the pain anyway. But then it happened while I went to another place with Jiu-Jitsu. So I had a couple of beginners there. I was going easy, rolling. And I had a guy latch onto me. He was on the bottom. I was on the knee right position, just floating with him, not putting any hard pressure or nothing. And he had 2 hands anchored on my head. He's trying to pull my head down while I was on the knee ride. So, but I had good posture, I had good structure, just something tweaked already because of the injury previously from the Muay Thai clinch. So that's when it really triggered down my back, and I felt it shoot down my arm, and I stopped. And after that, I was in a lot of pain for the next 2 weeks in Thailand because there was no osteos. There's nothing like that there that I could get treatment. It was just normal massages. So yeah, that didn't help. So I was and I had spasms for 4 days non-stop from my neck. My arm was just spasming non-stop. So and I had to deal with the pain. There's nothing I could do. I couldn't even find the cricket ball to buy to roll it, or anything like that. So I had to use a deodorant can in my hotel room on the brick wall just to try and massage it out or something, But as my nerve that was pinched, it was pretty bad. But I think one of the massages could have triggered it even worse. Because I went and saw one of the guys from one of the trainers there. He gave me his massage dude, and he battered me for an hour. Like I've never been in that much pain from a massage apart from this guy. So I think he might have triggered it, a little bit more until I got back. And that's when I came back. I saw a couple of people, and I tried to do push-ups. So as I tried to do a push-up, I went to training, and I just fell on my face. So I had no strength in my arm. So that's when I realized something's pretty serious. So and I got scared, and I went straight to my local doctor, told him what happened, and he gave me a referral to go straight to emergency to go see a neurosurgeon, because of my nerve. He didn't know how bad it was. So I went there, had to get MRI and all that kind of stuff. And then when I got the result back, when I saw him again, and it wasn't a good answer, that he gave me. So he told me, look, he goes, your neck's pretty stuffed. All your facet joints are gone. Your C7 and C6 nerves are pinched. So that's what's killed your arm. And, the outcome of that is if you leave it too long, because my arm went to jelly. Like my arm was just jelly from that. So obviously that was from the impingement. And that's why I had no strength. So you can get to a point where you completely lose everything, from that arm. So, and it quickly started shrinking, very quick. So, once he told me you needed surgery, and the only option he gave me was to fuse my neck. And I'm like, wow, I went into tears from that. When he told me that, I had no option because definitely I didn't want to get a neck fuse, and I told him, what isn't there any other options? Like we can get, the disc replacements or something instead of a fused neck. And he goes, no, I'm highly experienced. He goes, and there's a good record of, people with fused necks. But I just didn't want a fused neck, man. I didn't know how to take it. So he prescribed an injection, a cortisone injection in my C7 nerve. So I went and got that first. He goes, take this injection and goes and see how you go after a couple of weeks. And I had to go back. But and at the same time, I didn't like the vibe of him, to be honest. I didn't like the vibe of him because he gave me no options. There was no rehabbing or nothing like that. It was just like, you need to fuse neck. You need to fuse your neck. And that was it. So it took me a few days to sort of let it sink in and think about it because I started doubting myself. I started believing him. And I'm not usually like that. So I had a chat to my coach, Harkin, because he's had neck surgery. So, and even he told me, don't get it. Don't get a surgery, whatever you do. So then I'm going to sort out some other neurosurgeons. So I went and sorted out 2 other neurosurgeons, the 2 top neurosurgeons in Melbourne, privately. Explained the whole story to them, what I do and everything like that, how long and all this kind of stuff. And even they said to me, man, don't rush into the surgery. They go, from what you do, they go, you're strong. You've trained most of your life. So they go, you're prepared to do a rehab. Your body is prepared for rehab instead of just going under the knife. So, and that was the first one, and that was pretty good, yeah. So, and he said, look, in the end, he goes, there is other options instead of going straight to fusing your neck. So then when I saw the other one, and so the same thing, he said, you're pretty strong. He goes, I can see, and they do all these tests on you as well. And he goes, same thing because, of all your training and that. He goes, your body is prepared to go through the rehab exercises. He goes, if it was someone normal that's not trained, that hasn't been physically training in their life, he goes, I would instantly say, get the surgery because their body's not prepared. So yeah, that's all I wanted. I got those two different views, and that's when I said, all right, I'm going to go search for someone to do rehab for my neck, and asked a few people. Bumped into a friend. He gave me a guy named Andrew Locke. So he's up in, I think, Chadstone or Dandenong, somewhere up there. Frankston? No, Dandenong, Chadstone. So he's a physio as well, and he's a strongman, bodybuilder, powerlifter. So I went and saw him, and he's rated as one of the top in the world, So I went and saw him, and he gave me exercises to do. And before that, I was already starting to do push-ups and trying to train my arm up and to get my strength back and all that kind of stuff. So I explained to him what I was doing, and I was working. So I just kept doing that, and he gave me some exercises, and I just committed to that. And I started getting better and better. From one push-up, I started to do 3 and build up all the way until I got up to 100 a day. So I got up to 100 push-ups a day eventually. But I just didn't give up. That's where I say now, that's where the mental battle is. You just don't give up. You just keep going. It doesn't matter how hard it is. You want to quit. You want to cry. You want to do this. And I was depressed because, I'm thinking that my arm's gone. My neck's stuffed, and that's it. So I had to push through it, and I really trained and committed to it. So then I started doing another strength and conditioning program with another guy, Andrew Reid, throughout this year to keep me going. And I've definitely, till now, I feel so much better. My neck's good. I bought the Iron Neck. I was committed to the Iron Neck for a solid 6 months every day, nonstop.
Okay.
So the Iron Neck, I guess, with doing the push-ups, doing the rehab exercises, all these combined, I think have helped me now. So I haven't even got pain anymore. I know it's still there. I can get triggered, but I just have to maintain it when it does happen and ease up.
What about your lower back?
My lower back, at one stage I did have issues, and that would have been last year. Yeah, I couldn't find the problem with it. I had tests and scans, and I almost felt like I was inside deep in my hip, like down, deep in my back. I had a lot of issues. Even when I twisted and turned, it felt bruised. I don't know what happened, but it sort of faded away. But I know with Jiu-Jitsu, eventually, if you're a big guard player and your back's always getting loaded, it can happen. And I know people that have had bad backs from it.
Yeah, bad backs, hips.
Yeah, my hips feel okay. I do believe that my hamstrings from being curled up in a guard position, your hamstrings shorten because you got your knees up, like with your guard. So over the years, your body molds to that. And obviously you get other issues. So, yeah, you really got to balance yourself, which I do now more, more stretching and stuff like that. Focusing on certain muscle groups for jiu-jitsu,